People always ask me why my name is Kevin. Pakistani, why is your name Kevin? Alhamdulillah, my mom and my dad met at LaGuardia Airport. My dad was a taxi driver and my mother was a bus attendant. They fell in love and got married, and my mom went to go visit her mother in Uruguay, in South America. Like my entire life, I could not wait. I came out early. My grandmother, here comes a boy. My mother is, just went through childbirth and couldn't figure out what to name me. My dad was not picking up the phone, as usual. Those who know him, he doesn't pick up the phone all the time. She couldn't get in contact with him, so my grandmother named me Kevin Mendez.
No cell phone.
Not related to Lewis, but same name. So I get to this country at 3 months old, and my dad's like, hold on, Kevin Mendez? We're supposed to name him Abdullah, Shakil. Like many of you, I come from an immigrant household. So the struggles of being an immigrant, we don't know how the system works. So my parents could not figure out how to change my name legally. So up until 5th grade, my name was Kevin Mendez. I have a younger brother, Yusuf Shakil. My brother makes fun of me. Oh, you were adopted. You're not part of the family. Alhamdulillah, we come across a teacher who teaches my parents how to change my last name. So I changed my name to Kevin Shakil. And that is why my name is Kevin Shakil. I am a product of immigrants from the start, where we couldn't figure out how to change my name legally until I was in 5th grade. Many of us know the struggles of living in this country as immigrants and not having a voice. It's very important to always remember where you came from. And I tell this story very proudly because my mother and my father worked very hard to raise us. We all know that when I was in 4th grade, my life got twisted and turned upside down. The tragedy of 9/11 happened. As a 7, 8-year-old kid, you have no idea what's going on in the world. You're just in school, you're playing, you're learning how to write cursive. 9/11 happened, I went home, we witnessed what happened, the tragedy on the news. The next day, I jump on the bus. The same friends I had throughout kindergarten, they were saying, tick, 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 tick. Where's your Uncle Osama? Oh, he's a terrorist. I went home that night and I asked my dad, what does the word terrorist mean? And who's Osama? My dad said, don't pay any attention to it. Just keep going to school and do what you have to do. This happened to many of us here in New York. Many of us growing up, we faced Islamophobia, we faced racism. But it made us stronger. It made us know who we are as a community. We bonded together. We grew up together. And we realized one thing that we had in common. What they did on that tragedy day, that was not us. That was them. We're Americans. But we suffered for it. If I can go back to that kid today and tell him everything you went through, every single American kid went through, I will tell him today that you have a 29-year-old running for U.S. Congress. That all the struggles that we face as a community, that we bonded together, that this is the product of it. That we came out strong. That we didn't take no for an answer. And like Louis said, we're Americans as apple pie. And I want to break it down. Even American apple pie like McDonald's apple pie. 2 for $1. I'm a 29-year-old Hispanic, Pakistani Muslim running for U.S. Congress. And that's what this beautiful country has allowed us to do. My wife, who's Dominican, who converted to Islam, gave me the 2 best things in my entire life, Layla and Alina. I got a job up in Buffalo as a team lead, managing 500 employees working under me at the age of 25. When I went up to Buffalo, had a great job, great apartment, living great, wife is happy, kids are happy. I was walking in the park with my daughter one day, who was 2.5 at the time. One white male came up to me and spat close to my daughter and said, "You're lucky we have laws in this country or I will shoot you guys both in the head." That was racism I faced again. It took me back to 4th grade. What I did was I went home and I realized, what has changed? What have I done to change anything? I graduated school, I got a job, and I continued my life. But what did I do for my community? What did I do for our people? My wife, who's Hispanic, I told her what happened. And she goes, "Babe, you know you're at work all day. Do you feel safe leaving me and Layla at home alone?" I didn't sleep that night. Didn't sleep for a second. I went the next morning to my job and I said, "I know the formality is giving 2 weeks notice, but I have to submit my resignation today." I called my dad that morning and said, "I'm moving back to New York, to Long Island." He said, "Are you crazy? You have such a wonderful job. Don't even think about it." I didn't want to tell him what happened. I didn't tell him what happened. Because my father was somebody who went through that, who raised us to not witness any of this. I came back down to Long Island and I started an IT company. I went looking for office space. While I was looking for office space, I went to the Westbury School District because I knew my daughter was going to go back to that school. So I started fighting for halal food. Because something lit inside of me that, hey, I'm a type of person where I went to Westbury School District from K to 12 and I had nothing but peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every single day. How many people here had peanut butter and jelly every single day in their schools? Most of us. So I wanted to make a change just for my daughter, that when she went to school, she wouldn't have to go through what I went through. While I was looking for office space, at the school board meeting, I ran into none other than Louis Mendez. He told you the story. He was building a studio in Mineola for his Hispanic radio station. And I said to myself, wow, what just happened to me? Maybe I can start doing Islamic content here. I went home that night and I went to sleep. And I had a dream I was on Mount Arafat. As most of you know, that's one of the holiest places for Muslims. And I was performing Hajj and I'm in Ihram. And everybody around me was non-Muslim. I reached out to Darul Uloom, to my scholar there, and he said, "What are you doing for Islam?" I said, "Nothing. I barely pray my 5 namazes sometimes. I miss it. I feel bad." He goes, "What are you doing? Or what are you planning on doing?" I said, "Well, I had this idea that maybe I could do some Islamic content." He goes, "Do it. That's your calling." Sure enough, we created America's Islamic Radio. And since then, we have been uniting Muslims with non-Muslims, Sunni Muslims with Shia Muslims. And let me tell you one thing, most of my death threats I get is from the South, but some death threats I get during the month of Muharram, because I put Shia scholars in front. So you want to talk about uniting people? Listen, if for those of you who know, uniting Sunnis and Shias is one of the most dangerous things you can do as a Muslim. And I took the courage and I did it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm running for Congress. It's not an easy task. We have to unite this country. And if I can do that at a lower level with Muslims worldwide, I can do this to unite Americans. I can run for Congress and I can win. But the only way I can win is with your support. So I want to thank every single one of you for coming out here tonight. And I want you guys to remember this. I'm running not for myself. I don't need the fame. I don't need the glory. I'm running to make a change. I'm running to make a change for you, your children, and your children's children.